have a quick question for the people who do counseling, coaching. Well, let's stay with counseling because we're talking about counseling as it pertains to relationship, as it pertains to mental health. I want to speak to the people who I have a question for the people who do this. All my mental health practitioners, clinicians, those social workers, marriage and family therapists, this question is for you. What do you do when you encounter the problems that you are helping others with? How do you manage your personal crisis, your personal physical crisis, whether it's bouts of anxiety or depression or loneliness, sadness? How do you deal with relationship issues? How do you deal with that? There's so many times I ask this because there are times where I sit in session and the people that God has blessed me to serve, they're all so amazing. And there would be few who would start the session and who would start the session who wouldn't say, who wouldn't start the session by saying, "How are you doing, Dr. Holmes?" And every single time, and this is my confession, and some of you would try to do things differently and ask me another way to see if I am going to deviate from this, but I cannot. The confession is, I do not tell the truth in some of those times because I cannot. When you say how you doing, is as if you're saying, hey, today is Monday, or today is Tuesday, or today is Wednesday. I cannot take it as someone asking because they really need to know. And maybe, let me take that back. All the time, I believe, because the people I see is just so great, they really ask that question from a genuine place. But for us as clinicians and people who work in this space, we cannot tell you how we're doing. Because once we tell you how we're doing, the dynamic of the relationship shifts. And there's so many rules and guidelines that we would go against to really, facilitate that question, to say how we're doing. But to you, Miss Therapist, you, Mr. Therapist, what do you do? The truth is, all of us as counselors should have someone that we meet with at least once a month to really unpack the things that we're doing. Now, this goes beyond supervision, right? So supervision would be what we would do. And a lot of us will get together, but when we get together, we'll talk about a client. We'll try to collaborate on an issue with a client. And I hope you guys have that space that you can do that, because that is powerful. Some of my colleagues and I do that on a regular basis. But what do you do? What do you do when you're going through a heartbreak? What do you do when your child is giving you, it's a challenging transition with your children, or in your marriage, or in your mental health? It's really important that you find someone to speak to. And I know, especially for pastors and leaders who do counseling, I think it's even harder for them to find someone who they can be honest with, because sitting in the patient chair is different from sitting in the place of the counselor. And to find someone that would not take you down from being a bishop, down from being a leader, because you share intimate things that you're struggling with. It's really tough to find that person. But it's really important that you do find that person. Because in the spiritual realm, I remember I was already ordained as a pastor, functioning in my second chair position as assistant pastor. And this happened in about 2 churches that I've been a part of, where I stood at the altar, and the leadership said, "Okay, Cheryl, pray for this person and that person." Because I'm Cheryl, they didn't think that I needed someone to pray for me. And so today I was thinking about that and wondering what happens to the therapist, what happens to the counselor, what happens to the pastor when they do not find someone. And I know that we have God. But one of the things that we don't understand, that God never meant to take the place of people in our life. Because sometimes you need a hug. Sometimes you need someone to stop all the stuff that they're doing and listen to you. You want someone to not put a band-aid over your issue and say, "I'll pray for it. I'll help you pray about it," or say something like, "God knows how much you can bear." Oh my gosh, that statement. I know it's biblical, but that really can be so insensitive at times. I thank God that I do have people, at least, I want to say a couple people that I can just boo-hoo and not be smart, Dr. Holmes, and I can just be Cheryl. But who do you have? Who do you go to? Because the surgeon, no matter how good the surgeon is, top-ranking surgeon, cannot perform surgery on himself or herself. They can't. They can diagnose and figure out what they're doing, but the actual application of the healing that needs to take place, the surgery that needs to take place, has to come from someone else. Find that person. Stop saying that God is my all in all and all in all. He is, but He has created relationship. A hug is so therapeutic. Someone pausing from watching TV or playing a game or being busy with life, taking time to sit with you and listen to you is so therapeutic. Find someone. Now, I'm available for a lot of you, and lots of people. I wouldn't say a lot. There are people who do come to me, and I thank God. I thank God that I can stand in that gap and be confidential and hear some crazy things that they're doing and not judge. Walk them through that. And week by week, they come and they talk and they, they're sometimes, the way they talk, they kind of test me to see if I'm going to flinch. But no, I want to create that safe space, that space where there's nothing that you can say that's going to change how I see you and think about you or cause me to bring you down. I promise you, before God, so far it has not happened. People go through life and go through circumstances and issues, and there has to be a place, an earthly person that God has put in your life to be able to listen to you. Don't suffer in silence. Find your place. Find someone to talk to. It means being vulnerable and open and sharing, but you need that. So I